Good evening, everyone. I'm Kid O'Shea, and you're watching A Day at the Zoo. It is great to have you with us. Tonight I'm here with Jenny Diliberti, who is the Public Relations Coordinator at the Milwaukee County Zoo. Jenny, great to see you.
Thank you.
We've been friends for a long time.
Yes.
And I'm excited tonight that we get to talk about the Milwaukee County Zoo. I was born and raised in this city. You grew up here, one of the great parts of our city. And there's a lot of new things there, so let's get right into the new Jaguar cubs.
Yes, we have new Jaguars on exhibit. They were actually born November 13th, so now it's February. They're about 3 months old. They're both males, which means really exciting things.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of Jaguars who have been born recently have been males, so it adds some new genes to the population. His father, Pat, was a wild-caught animal from Belize, so that adds new genes into the captive pool. So really that's an important conservation point for us that we're very excited about, and they've just been put out on exhibit so the public can come see them.
I saw pictures last week of them and they are just gorgeous. They're so handsome. What is some of the reaction from people that are coming to the zoo and seeing them for the first time?
Well, we haven't had Jaguar cubs at our zoo since 1975. So, I mean, the adults obviously are very excited about it, but we see the kids who are just thrilled by it. And just like I said, they were put out on exhibit initially a couple weeks ago. So to see these two little ones in their exhibit, it's sort of a multi-level exhibit. So they're getting used to the rock work, some of the water little pools for them. And I mean, you could spend probably an hour just sitting there watching them, which is very cool.
Yeah, if you haven't been to the zoo lately, that's something to definitely check out.
Yes.
I was recently there and we hung out with the hyenas.
We did.
Which is also very unique. What's going on with them right now?
Well, we actually have a new female. Her name is Nyota, and she came to us from the Buffalo Zoo. She's about 4 years old, and she was actually brought in to breed with one of our males, Scruffy. We just have Scruffy and Nyota now, and so baby hyenas would be kind of a neat thing for us as well.
Yeah.
And the hyenas are really one of the smarter animals in that building, in the feline building. So to watch them kind of forage for food and do sort of some different enrichment things, which are playing with toys and things like that on exhibit, it's really neat to see because she's a companion animal for the male who was by himself. So now it kind of adds a whole nother dimension to that exhibit.
The other thing I love is when you're in that building, there's the monitors where you can see what's going on behind the scenes kind of. And so I mean, there's so much education that can be had at the Milwaukee County Zoo.
Right, and with the Jaguar cubs, we actually had these webcams in the holding areas for the Jaguars, so people could come before they were on exhibit and they could see them in the holding areas. They could see the mom, you know, either nursing them, bathing them, things like that. So like you say, it's a real educational sort of component that we add. Obviously, we want people to be educated and entertained when they come to the zoo.
One of the zoos that gets a lot of attention nationally is always the San Diego Zoo. You hear about how wonderful that is. And a lot of times our zoo is compared to the San Diego Zoo. And I always like to point this out because I think that's a big plus.
It is.
That we're put on that level, a city of our size. Why is that?
Well, I think, first of all, I'm glad that you mentioned it. Because
I always do.
Right. But in terms of acreage and animal collection size, I mean, we are usually compared within like the top 7 zoos in the country. So we have 200 acres of parkland. We have over 2,500 animals representing 330 different species. So when you talk about that, our animal collection is a little bit smaller than San Diego, but a lot of people comment that you can get real close to our animals, and not to take anything away from the San Diego Zoo, but a lot of those animals are set back in their exhibits. So we hear comments from people like, wow, you can get up close with the lions, with the cheetahs, things like that. And if you haven't been to our zoo in a while, our feline building was recently renovated in the last like 5 years. So you can get up close with some of those animals.
Yeah. And I was just out there when a day after it had snowed, and it was absolutely gorgeous. I had never been to the zoo when it snowed, because I think a lot of people think our zoo closes in the winter, and it doesn't. It's open 365 days a year.
Yes, every day of the year. We have some decreasing in our hours just for some of the holidays, but yeah, every day of the year. Come on out in the winter. You can get closer to the animals because some of the school groups may not be there. We're not taking anything away from the schools, but they come out in the summer and they're trying to get their field trips in. It might be a little more crowded, so we like people to think of us in the winter as well. That's
great, and it's a beautiful thing. It's 200 acres that are just gorgeous, especially after fresh snow. Real quickly, let's talk about the Zoo Pass, because when you have the Zoo Pass, it gets you into our zoo for free, but it also gets you into other zoos for free. Right.
There is a reciprocal list of zoos that do accept our Zoo Pass, so people can go on the Society website, and there's a list of those zoos. I think San Diego was on that list at one time, but it may not be.
Anymore.
Yeah, but
we got to kick them off.
But some of the other zoos that are on there, I think like the Bronx Zoo is on there, some of the bigger zoos as well.
I did not know that until recently as well. We're going to have a lot more with Jenny tonight. For more information on those great new animals, you can visit milwaukeezoo.org. Now let's take you to our Milwaukee County Zoo, where we recently met with 2 zookeepers in discussing their different responsibilities.
Off-exhibit breeding and holding area, which has a variety of different birds. Birds come through here for many different reasons. A lot of times they come up here because they're getting ready to be shipped out to another zoo. They come up here when they're getting ready to go on to an exhibit. I have birds up here that are retired from exhibits, and I take care of them, so I feed them, I clean them, we do a lot of enrichment, we give them toys and things to do. I do a lot of nesting studies with our birds. If we're trying to get them to breed, we set up different kinds of nesting structures for them. We have to do a lot of observations and other little things just to get them to breed and have babies. I also take care of the Humboldt penguins. That's a big part of my day as well. I feed them, I clean them, we do different training programs with them. Also enrichment. I talk to the public and do education programs and some research as well here at the zoo.
As area supervisor at the Animal Health Center, I care for whatever animals are here at the Animal Health Center for a variety of reasons. It could be new animals coming in need to be quarantined for at least 30 days. Sometimes we get some sick or injured animals from our collection that for whatever reason need to be taken off their exhibit, and they come here temporarily while they're being treated until they can be returned to their exhibit. Sometimes we need to treat geriatric animals as well. Sometimes an exhibit may be renovated and the animals need to be removed for a short period of time, and then they would stay with me. I can handle an animal up to about a 1,200-pound Bactrian camel, down to as small as a 2-ounce frog. So actually less than that, 2-gram frog. So I handle everything in between.
Well, that's quite the responsibilities she has. Right. Jenny Diliberti is my guest tonight with the Milwaukee County Zoo. Let's talk about some of the upcoming events that you have going on, including Egg Day.
Right, that comes up March 30th, and that is our Easter special event.
Yeah.
So we invite people to come out there. It's a full day of activities. We have a special bunny treat search that people can bring their kids. They can search for different tokens and redeem them for treats. We have a bubbleologist who blows bubbles into these wonderful creatures and animals and things like that. An Easter parade, and this has been going on for probably over 20 years.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, really neat. We do over 20 special events each year, so this is one of ours that happens always the day before Easter. So.
Well, and I imagine there are families that choose the ones that they go to every year, and you maybe don't go to all 20, but maybe this is the year that you have never gone to Egg Day before. Why don't you try Egg Day out?
Right.
What would you tell families that have maybe never come to it before?
Well, I think it's really a nice opportunity for a full day of activity. You can come out, you can take part in some of the different crafts that we have for the kids. You can see the animals too. So this is always done sort of with the backdrop of our animals. So not only do you have these different activities, or like I said, the parade, and then we have a prize giveaway after that, a raffle. And so you can do all that and yet see all of our wonderful animals. So what a great opportunity to spend an entire day with us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Stingrays and Shark Bay.
Yes, that's our special exhibit for the summer, and that actually starts May 25th and it runs through September 2nd. And that is going to be an interactive exhibit with stingrays and sharks.
Wow.
We've had a similar exhibit in 2007, so it's been a number of years. But this year it's going to be a large pool with both of these animals in the pool. In the past we've had them separated, and they tell me that it's not a problem to have them together.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes. But they're harmless species of these. We have cow-nose stingrays and southern stingrays, and the barbs on them have been trimmed, just how you would trim like your fingernail.
Sure.
But that was, sort of considered the dangerous part of the animal. So all those are trimmed, and the visitor can come in and pet the stingrays, and then the sharks are harmless as well. We have a bamboo shark that will be on display, and a bonnet head shark as well. So it's all, these shallow pools, or one pool I should say, that people can come in and feed and interact with them.
So totally interactive. I mean, and that's something that, again, when we talked a little bit earlier about the education and being able to expose children to this kind of stuff is really incredible.
Right, and it's neat because in Milwaukee, you don't really have an opportunity to do that, obviously out in a natural setting, so it's really nice. Or maybe, you're not going to travel to Florida, or you know what I mean? So it's like we bring that sort of to the experience to the visitor, which is really nice, and it was very popular for us, so we're looking forward to that.
That's awesome. Another popular exhibit along the lines of that is the sea lions, which I love every single year.
Yes.
Oceans of Fun.
Oceans of Fun, which is our seal and sea lion venue on zoo grounds, and they have an interactive program that people can actually pay to do, where you can go in and help train some of these animals, and then they have live shows during the summer months that people can go and see. And again, it's an educational and entertaining sort of component that people can enjoy.
Yeah, there's so much education. It's so much fun. I mean, and the fact that you can get in with. Can everybody get in there, or I was only able to do that because I had a TV camera with me the one time?
No, actually, you can.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And if people want to go visit their website, it's oceansoffun.org. And they do have all of these different interactive programs for different ages of kids and adults that people can get up to their waist. I think you were in there on the dry dock, that you can get in and you do some of the target training, which means that you have them follow an object, you can feed them. And again, really a great experience because we're really the only venue in the Midwest that has the interaction with the seals and the sea lions.
Right. 20 events throughout the year, special events throughout the year, and I imagine all of that is available. All the information is on the website about all those events as well.
Yes, which is MilwaukeeZoo.org. And we do have a calendar on there that you can look through, the year. You can kind of plan, what you'd like to do during the year. Like you say, if not, coming out for Egg Day, come out for Halloween. We have two different weekends that we actually do the Halloween events. So really you can pick and choose which ones suit you or your family.
And coming up a little later, we're going to talk about one of my favorite events at the Milwaukee County Zoo. That's in just a little bit. So what happens when a lion doesn't want to take its medication? And how much travel do you think is involved in being a zookeeper? Let's head back to the Milwaukee County Zoo to find out.
So I work underneath two veterinarians, two very dedicated veterinarians, Dr. Roberta Wallace and Dr. Vicki Clay. And I work along with three very dedicated veterinary technicians. And so a veterinarian may prescribe a medication for animals, and it's up to me to, if it's an oral medication, it's up to me to get that medication into the animal. I have to figure out the special treats that an animal may like, and so that they'll take some nasty tasting medication sometimes. So I do have to kind of trick them and fool them every once in a while. The other part of my responsibility is if we have a procedure going on here in our treatment room, they may need me to help restrain an animal while it's being sedated. Occasionally, they need my assistance with nuisance wildlife that we have on zoo grounds. Baby raccoons that get caught in trash cans and things like that, I've had to remove and relocate, and or sometimes baby birds. Sometimes the public will find baby birds that have fallen out of nests and things like that, and so I'm kind of a Jill of all trades most days.
A really cool thing about being a zookeeper is we get to do different research studies, or we can go do conservation efforts out in the wild. We get to go to conferences. I've been very heavily involved with piping plover conservation in Michigan. I go to Michigan, I've gone there for 6 summers to help raise baby piping plovers. We get in eggs from the wild that would be abandoned, and we hatch them, raise the chicks, and we release them back out into the wild. This summer, I was also in Peru for 3 weeks working with the Humboldt penguins. So I actually went for part of a program where they harvest guano, which is dried penguin poop that they use for fertilizers in Peru. And part of my job while I was there was to count penguins and to make sure that the penguins weren't harmed by any of the activities out there. And as a zookeeper, we do a lot of education programs with the public. I spend a lot of time out in the areas where public can come and talk to me, ask me questions, and learn about the animals that we work with every day.
My favorite part of the day is when all my residents here are medicated, fed, cleaned, their enclosures are cleaned, and are as comfortable as they could possibly be. Then at the end of the day, going home to my husband and being able to hug my own dogs and okay, hug my own husband too, so.
My favorite part of the day is coming to work and getting to work with some really, really cool animals every day. I love the penguins, I love the birds I take care of up here in the off exhibit area. My least favorite part of the day, I don't know. Every day's different, so not everything's the same. I do a lot of cleaning. I don't necessarily mind the cleaning. I guess if an animal's sick, that's when it's not very fun, when you have to deal with sick animals or animals that get put to sleep because they're ill or injured. That, I guess, would be my least favorite part of my job.
Great story. And before we get to one of my favorite events, which we're going to talk about in a second at the zoo, the employees at the zoo and all the people that care for the animals. I mean, you don't see them every day, and these are just 2 of the many people that take care of these animals every single day.
Right. We have a staff of about 150 permanent people. So, you know, like you say, you'll come out to the zoo and you don't necessarily see them always. And our zookeepers obviously are frontline people in terms of taking care of the animals, making sure that they're healthy, that they get enough exercise, that type of thing. Heather, who we saw, one of our bird keepers, you can see her out there. She'll be feeding some of our Humboldt penguins, and she does it, you know, if she's working that day, she does it twice a day. She'll be out there in the public area feeding the Humboldts, talking and interacting with the visitors. So really we encourage our visitors to get out there and, you know, be able to see and hear some of those keepers, because it really adds to your visit. And same thing in the feline building with these new Jaguar cubs. Sometimes they're being fed on exhibit, so we, you know, encourage people. Some of these are posted when you first come into the zoo, so you can see, oh, look, they're feeding the felines or whatever at 3 o'clock. We should go over there, and then you'll maybe catch a keeper, ask them questions, feel free to interact with them. We invite people to do that.
Well, I don't think people realize how much these animals are part of their lives. These are like their kids, you know. They're with them every single day, and for some of them, they're with them from birth on, and that's really exciting, you know.
And they do form these relationships with them, even though, you know, we're sort of always taught not to, you know, get too close to them. But like you say, if they've even hand reared some of these animals, which means if the mother rejected the animal for whatever reason, right now we have a baby impala that was born, and she actually was rejected by her mother, and she was a first-time mom, so she didn't really know how to care for the animals, so she's being hand-raised in the hospital. So Celi, who we saw on the video, is actually taking care of her and bottle feeding her, and then when she gets to a certain point, she'll be taken back to the herd. But these people can, you know, our visitors can see, you know, the progress, and they can see when they're returned back to their exhibits.
Okay, let's talk about one of the best events at the Milwaukee County Zoo. Zoo A La Carte. We saved the best for last. I mean, it really is. I think everyone loves it because we love our food here.
Right.
And you can get all the fried food that you get at all the other places. You can get some not fried food and more.
Yeah.
But you get to walk through the zoo. You get to eat some food. You get to listen to some music. There's nothing like it.
Right. Right. And as you say,
I bet the San Diego Zoo doesn't have that.
We should look that up. Yeah. We call it Zoo A La Carte, or Feast with the Beast, and like you say, it happens always the third weekend in August. So people can come out, and we usually have about 28 different restaurants from the Milwaukee area offering up, like you say, everything from fried food or ethnic food. I mean, we have a nice variety of things: Italian, Mexican, whatever you know choose to eat. We have it out there.
I think we made Sundays. Like there's a Sunday area with like great desserts.
Right. So really, there's something, and all of the restaurants are in little food villages, which you've seen, so you can kind of graze your way, we like to call it, throughout the park. And again, you get to enjoy all this great food, a lot of different bands, local bands, national bands as well, and then just enjoy the animals too. Is
that one of the biggest events for the zoo to plan and put on every year?
It is. It is. We have a special event coordinator at the zoo, you know, one person, and she works with other departments, but that's really her, you know, one of her obviously biggest events, and that can draw anywhere from like 70 to 85,000 people throughout the 4 days. So, and it's a great revenue generator for us. And when you're, you know, you come out and you purchase the food, or maybe buy a souvenir, you're really helping the animals, and that's what we like to tell people.
And another great one is Sunset Safari.
Right, which is kind of along the lines of A La Carte. It doesn't have the food component necessarily, but you can come out, and it's Wednesday evenings in the summer. They start at the end of June, and again, that's on our website. Wednesday evenings from 6 to 9 p.m. We have different bands every Wednesday night. People can come out at a reduced admission rate. So really, if you maybe can't come, you know, during the day, if you know you work full time and it's hard for you to get away, you can come out at night, reduced admission, enjoy the animals. All the buildings are open except for the aviary, but you can come out, enjoy the animals, see the band, and just have a nice evening.
You've been with the zoo for 15 years now. What's one of the biggest things that surprises you that people don't know about our zoo? I mean, do you meet people that you're like, oh my gosh, you didn't know that we have that? I mean, the fact that I didn't know it was open 365 days a year. I didn't know the Zoo Pass gets you into other zoos. I mean.
Right. Well, I think it's, you know, that we are really a resource for the community. People can come out, they can see all these wonderful things that we do, be entertained, and yet we have all these different conservation projects that we're involved in. And when you see kind of the care that these animals are given, whether it's their zookeepers, their vets, I think people are surprised to see all that we do. We actually have a dentist who works on human teeth that comes out and he works on our animals' teeth. And he does it just because he loves the animals. So you just know that the care that they're given is really top-notch.
Plus, people always think, you know, the zoo is for kids and things like that. But you know what? The zoo's a great place for a first date and things like, you know, you can walk around.
Right.
The animals can be distraction if you need them to be.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
If it's a bad date, you know.
It gives you something to talk about.
Exactly.
I mean, absolutely, especially A La Carte, like you say. I mean, what a great time to come out if you're younger, if you're older, but really as a date night, I mean, how great could that be? Because you're not, you know what I mean, it's not, you have all this other entertainment around you, I guess you could say.
Real quickly, we're almost out of time. Let's talk about the new zoo website.
Yes, that was actually redesigned in the past couple years, and we launched it last summer. And so there's some different, I guess, different choices on there now for people. They can buy tickets online. There's a whole kids section, conservation, things like that. So,
Jenny, thank you so much. Always so great to see you and share these special moments about our zoo. I want to thank my guest, Jenny Diliberti, for joining us tonight. Before we wrap up the show, we wanted to show you just a few of the animals that you may not be able to see until spring and summer. I'm Kid O'Shea. Thank you for watching A Day at the Zoo.